Let's talk about an anime that didn't just tell a cool story. It completely blew up an entire genre. We're talking about a show that became this massive cultural landmark, one that's been going strong for decades. And that show, of course, is Mobile Suit Gundam.
All right, to kick things off, just listen to this quote. That's a huge statement, right? But that's the kind of reverence Gundam commands. It's not just seen as some important show. People literally see it as a line in the sand, a moment in animation history where you have before Gundam and after Gundam.
Okay, so with a claim that huge, you've got to ask, what did this show actually do that was so groundbreaking? How on earth did one series just completely rewrite the entire playbook for giant robots? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into.
And to really get it, we need to hop into Time Machine and head back to the late 1970s, because the world of anime was on the verge of this, seismic shift, and Gundam was sitting right at the epicenter of the whole thing. This is such a great way to put it. See, for a long time, a show called Mazinger Z was the gold standard. It was the blueprint, you know? It gave us the heroic, practically invincible giant robot. Then Gundam comes along and just shreds that blueprint. It threw out the old rules and wrote a completely new one. So the first big change, the one you can see right away, was how it treated the robots themselves. I mean, Gundam took the absolute core icon of the genre and just completely flipped its meaning on its head. And this lays it out perfectly. Before Gundam, you had the super robot. Think of it like a one-of-a-kind, godlike machine. It was practically a superhero in its own right. But Gundam gave us the real robot. It wasn't special. It was a mass-produced tool of war, basically military hardware. And just like that, the focus completely shifted from the awesome machine to the fragile, scared human being piloting it. And that's the absolute key right there. The mobile suit, the Gundam, it's not the hero. It doesn't have a soul or a personality. It's just a machine. It's a tank or a fighter jet. It's really just a high-tech skeleton for the soldier inside. The tech is just the stage for the real story, the human drama of the people fighting this horrible war. Okay, so once you shift the focus from the machine to the human, that leads you right into Gundam's next big revolution. And honestly, this one might be even more profound. It wasn't just about changing the robots. It was about changing the very idea of what the fight was about.
I mean, think back to the other robot shows from that time. The bad guys were always super obvious, right? It was always invading aliens or some kind of monster empire from underground or mythical beasts. It was always a very, very simple us versus them, good versus evil kind of fight.
Gundam just took that whole idea and tossed it right out the window. The enemy wasn't some monster from another planet.
The enemy was us. The whole story of Mobile Suit Gundam is about a brutal, devastating civil war. It's humans on Earth fighting humans who live in space colonies. And suddenly, there's no easy good guy or bad guy. It's just people fighting other people. And that right there, that's the philosophical heart of the whole thing. It's what makes Gundam so much more than just an action show. It's saying the real enemy isn't this government or that army. The real enemy is war itself. This tragic, vicious cycle that just chews up everybody, no matter what uniform they're wearing. You know, the creators were really smart about this. To make this whole real robot thing work, they had to answer a big question. In the future, why would you even need giant walking robots? Why not just use long-range missiles? And their answer was brilliant. They invented something called the Minovsky particle. It's this fictional element that basically jams all radar and guidance systems. So, boom, you have to fight up close, visually. It's a super clever piece of world building that makes the whole idea of mobile suits actually make sense. And here's a cool little piece of trivia for you. The name Gundam wasn't the first choice, not even close. It started off as Gun Boy, which is pretty literal, right? A boy with a gun. Then it became Gundam, kind of mixing gun with freedom. But the creator still wasn't happy. He finally landed on Gundam, a combination of gun and dam. The idea was that this weapon was so powerful it could act like a dam, holding back the entire enemy army. Pretty cool, huh?
But here's the crazy part. For a show that changed everything, you'd think it was a smash hit from day one, right? Nope. Gundam's story is a total underdog story, because when it first came out, it was a complete and utter flop.
Yeah, just look at this timeline. It tells you everything. It premieres in 1979, and nobody's watching. The ratings are terrible. A year later, it gets canceled. Canceled. They had to rush the ending and everything. But then, a few years later, something incredible happens. They start showing reruns, but in a different time slot that older kids and teens were watching. In that audience, they got it. The show just exploded in popularity. And the rest, as they say, is history. So why did it bomb so badly at first? Well, ironically, it was because of all the things that made it so great. It was too complex, too serious. The toy companies looked at these realistic, kind of gritty war machines and thought, kids aren't going to buy this. The merchandise didn't sell. And back in 70s anime, if the toys don't sell, your show is toast. It was a death sentence. But wow, what a comeback story. From being a canceled flop, Gundam clawed its way back to become this huge cultural institution. Its legacy goes way, way beyond just being an old TV show.
I mean, its impact today is just massive. You can't deny it. We're talking decades of sequels, movies, OVAs, you name it. A merchandise empire that is worth billions of dollars, and this huge, passionate galaxy of fans all over the world. It's right up there with the biggest sci-fi franchises on the planet.
Honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it. For Japan, Gundam is their Star Wars or their Star Trek. It's not just another popular show. It's a cornerstone of their science fiction. It's a universe that has literally shaped how entire generations think and dream about the future. So in the end, by making the robots feel real and, more importantly, making the enemies human, Gundam did so much more than just shake up a genre. It used this sci-fi setting to hold up a mirror to our own world. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about, doesn't it? When a show treats war not as some cool adventure, but as a deeply human tragedy, what is it really trying to teach us about ourselves?